The Guardians open their 2025 season with the series against the Royals in Kansas City. We have the breakdown of the 3 games that started Cleveland's season.
Able to take down the rolling tide of the Crimson Tide.
And after a loss to the Pistons on Friday, the Cavaliers were able to bounce back with a win against the Clippers. We have all the details and more as Sports Corner is coming your way right now. From the Franklin Hall studio on the campus of Kent State University, this is Sports Corner. Alongside Liv Sharp, I'm Matt Corrali. And Liv, this has been a very busy week in the world of sports. We got the tournament, we've got the NBA nearing its playoff push, and also Major League Baseball at opening day this past weekend.
But we're not going to get too far ahead of ourselves because we've got some very exciting news regarding Kent State basketball, Matt.
Yes, we do. Well, after a lot of speculation of him leaving Kent State and taking the job over at Fordham, Kent State head coach Rob Senderoff announced his contract was extended on Sunday. This comes after Senderoff led Kent State to the quarterfinals of the NIT this past season. Senderoff, who just finished up his 14th season leading the Golden Flashes men's program during his tenure as head coach, has led the Flashes to multiple MAC titles and tournament appearances. In the press release, Senderoff said, quote, "I am proud to be your coach and am excited to keep this thing rolling. Go Flashes."
The Flashes track and field team headed to Texas on Saturday to compete in the Texas Relays and the Bobcat Invitational. In the Texas Relays, Alex Malanda recorded his outdoor PR with 52 feet and 4 inches and placed 5th in the men's triple jump. For the short sprints, Jaheim Jones recorded 2 top 10 finishes for the Flashes. At the Bobcat Invitational, 2 athletes placed in the top 10. Aiden Bath placed 6th in the men's 110-meter hurdles at 14 seconds, and Jerica Petrella placed 8th in the 400-meter run, clocking in at 54.91 seconds. The Flashes head over to PA for Slippery Rock's Dave Labor Invitational this weekend.
On Tuesday, the Kent State softball team had a midweek face-off against Robert Morris. In the top of the second, the Colonials had a 5-run inning and put up 3 more as they entered the bottom of the 5th. The Flashes were able to battle back with a leadoff single from sophomore Erilyn Nogue. This was followed with 2 walks to load the bases for the Flashes. An error allowed Nogue and junior Maddie McClushto to score. Down by 10 in the 6th, the Flashes answered with a pair of runs due to McClush's double. The Flashes fell to Robert Morris 12-4, but they will return tomorrow for a doubleheader against Ohio.
Good evening, I'm Stoner Bryant, and I'm here to take you through Kent State baseball. On Sunday, Kent State faced off against Toledo. Sawyer Salvatierra opened up with an RBI single. Toledo responded in the 4th with the 2 runs, but that lead would not last long as Alejandro Covas tied the game up with an RBI double. In the bottom of the 5th, Jake Casey sent one over the right field wall, allowing the Lashes to take the lead. Casey finished the game with a hot bat, earning himself an RBI double. The Rockets fell to the Flashes 6-2. Kent State stays home for 2 midweek games on Tuesday and Wednesday. First pitch will be at 3.
All right, well, Stone, it was a really good pitching day, pretty much for all 3 teams, but especially Kent State with the fact that they got the sweep. How do you think the Golden Flashes pitching unit will compare to next week's series as they take on Central Michigan and a team that is on the upper echelon of the MAC like Miami?
So I actually think the pitching will hold out well. You know, the weather was warming up, and it's supposed to be warm this week. Coach Duncan mentioned that the weather contributed, in his opinion, to Jake Bean and Gavin Jones' success. Both of them pitched into the 7th inning. Jones got into the 8th. They only gave up like 1 run, 3 combined runs. There was just a lot of pitching success. Fastball in the mid-90s. Ball jumped off the bat well. And even Sunday with Eric Chalice and Rocco Bernardina, they both play off of each other very, very well. Yeah. And I think their combo will work again on Sunday. But Saturday and Sunday, really, Friday will set the tone for the series. So hopefully Gavin Jones, I've seen start-to-start improvement from him. Just every single start that he's had so far this season. And I think it really reached a head this week. And I know Toledo doesn't have the best offense, not a single hitter over 300, but when you pitch like they did this weekend, it doesn't matter who you're facing, you're going to get results.
Well, I know we all had some question marks when it came to Kent State's pitching, so it's nice to see that they're starting to work out some of those kinks as we're getting deeper into MAC play. Now, I think I have a sneaking suspicion as to who you're going to tell us, but who do you stood out on offense?
So I have actually two, and I'll give you the surprise one first. Alejandro Covas.
Okay, yeah.
He's hitting .412 on the season, leads them, and he had, and I think something the offense did well all weekend was opposite field hitting. He hit a home run to the opposite field and doubled to the opposite field. But something that really stood out to me was his two-strike approach. He choked up on the bat, and there were times where he would just lay it out there, lay the bat out there and foul a pitch off, get it and live to see another one. And then it resulted in a bloop single to center field. And then, I think you all know the name, Jake Casey at this point.
There it is.
Hitting 7 hits in his last 5 games. He's getting on base at a 50% clip for this season, and he honestly has probably, per Coach Duncan, the most power in the MAC. And he just took one to, he landed in the outs, and it was gone off the bat, 113 over 400 feet. And it's just, he's a proven hitter. He gets results. He fouls off pitches. He has all the at-bats that you want to see. And a senior leader that has MLB draft prospects. They translate very well to the game in the next level, and I would not be surprised to see him selected in the MLB draft.
So as a team overall, how do you think the Flashes will do out in Mount Pleasant taking on Central Michigan?
So Central Michigan, they have a better offense. There's 3 hitters hitting over, bless you as well, 3 hitters hitting over 300. There's a team ERA close to 7, and the opponent's ERA is a full point lower, more than a full point lower. So I think we need to get solid pitching continue those solid streaks that starts from Gavin Jones and Jacob Bean. You also have Rocco Bernardina and Eric Chalice, who will probably piggyback each other. That was the plan this weekend. Chalice is going to get 1 time through the order, and he did good, so they let him get a couple more hitters in. And then Rocco Bernardina just came in and shut the door. He had 5 2/3, perfect baseball, 7 strikeouts, fastball working end to out, command in the zone, pounding the zone, and it was just good.
All right. Well, it'll be fun to watch here in the coming weeks. Thanks, Stone.
Well, Thursday marked the opening day for the Major League. Find out how your favorite team fared in the first couple of games after the break.
Hey, I'm worried about your parents. We need to show them how to spot phishing emails.
Agree, the scammers are out of control.
And we need to show them how to use a password manager. Plus, help them add multi-factor authentication.
Yes, we use MFA at work and it's great. Great cake. I'll use MFA to verify my purchase. Software update? Done. Time to celebrate.
For more information on how to keep yourself and those you care about safe online, go to cisa.gov/secure-our-world.
I feel like her heartbeat is like same speed as mine. And I think we have this like deep connection, this heart connection in her heart, that there's room for me and mom. When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer. It's a sensory thing. It's a thing with Asperger's.
She's really good with Anya. I've seen adults react to my daughter when she has meltdowns, like she's from a different planet. And this little animal just sat next to my child and was just like, it's gonna be cool.
She's my superhero.
Good job, kitty cat.
When we adopted Lucky, we discovered all the wonderful things that make her unique.
Lucky's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly she's pure love.
Well, Welcome back, everybody. Thursday marked the first day of the 2025 MLB season, and it has been a busy couple of days since then. So we'll start with the local team, Guardians taking on the Royals in a rubber match between two division foes that lost to the Yankees last postseason. Top two runners on the corners with one out, and Gabriel Arias will fly one out to Hunter Renfroe. He'll make the catch. Carlos Santana will tag. It's going to be a close play at the plate, and Santana beats it out. 1-0 Cleveland. More from Arias later on. Same score, top five. Kyle Manzardo is Kyle Mangonzo. His second homer of the year puts the Guardians on top, 3-0. Next frame for Cleveland. We promised you more from Arias, and boy, will he deliver. His first long ball of the year makes it a 4-0 Cleveland lead. Then three batters later, 2 on, 1 out for Stephen Kwan. The leadoff hitter hits it back to Chris Stratton, throws to second for one, but they don't get Kwan. That will score Daniel Schneemann. It's 5-0 Guardians. Top 8, still 5-0. Make it 6-0. Daniel Schneemann goes deep. It's a 3-homer game for Cleveland. It's 6-0 Guardians. Now, Kansas City gets 2 runs in the 8th, but Emmanuel Clase will slam the door with that strikeout. 6-2 the final. Tanner Bybee, a great day. 5.2 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 2 strikeouts in his season debut. Guardians to face San Diego at 9:40 tonight.
And as Matt mentioned, spring training is over, which means the MLB regular season is in full swing. I'm Lexi Blatnick, and let's get started. So the Padres host the Braves at Petco Park. A.J. Smith-Shawver throws a fastball to Manny Machado. He hits it to right field. The outfield is unable to nab it, and Machado doubles. Fernando Tatis Jr. scores. Padres up by 1. Shawver makes the pitch. Xander Bogaerts hits it to left field. Bogaerts doubles. Cronenworth crosses home. Make that Padres 2. Pivetta throws a fastball to Austin Riley. Manny Machado manages to snag it out of the air. Padres continue to lead by 2. It's the bottom of the 7th. Jose Suarez throws a slider to Jackson Merrill. He doubles. Tatis Jr. scores for the second time. Padres score, Braves 0, Padres 3. It's the bottom of the 8th. Tatis Jr. is up to the plate. He hits a sinker to left field. Braves defense is unable to pick it up. Lockridge scores, but Tatis Jr.'s hit is snagged out. Padres 4, Braves 0. It's the top of the 9th. 2 outs. Can the Braves rally? Jeremiah Estrada throws a 98-mile 4-stream outside the box. Brian De La Cruz swings, and that is ball game. Final score, Padres 5, Braves 0 as they leave Commercial Park.
Final game of the series. We're tied at 1 apiece. Angels and the White Sox. Jorge Soler breaks this game wide open. Sac fly to center field. That'll score Taylor Ward, and Nolan Schanuel advances to third base. We'll hear more from him shortly. And it is the very next batter up, very next pitch. Yohan Moncada. He grounds it to second. Brooks Baldwin gets Mike Trout out at second. They try for first, but Moncada is just too speedy. The Halos open up 2-0 in the second. Sox looking to get a few back, and this is a good way to start it. Nick Maton, the designated hitter, gets his first homer this season, and on the second pitch of that at-bat, truly spectacular. Still bottom of the first, Matt Thaiss rips an RBI single against his former team. The former Angels scores Luis Robert Jr., and we are tied at 2, and we're in a rain delay. Let's play a quick game. How many tarps do you count? I count 9. Anyways, the game eventually resumes, and Kyron Paris starts the 8th with a bang. A moonshot to left field, and the Angels retake the lead. 397 feet. That was a beaut. Last chance for Chicago. 2 runners in scoring position. Baldwin lines one to short, and he's out at first after the out at second. The Angels get the double play and take the series by a final of 3-2.
Let's go to a fun one out in Miami. Pirates taking on the Marlins. Miami's Max Meyer making his first start of the year. Top 2, and it's not going to start well for Meyer. Andrew McCutchen sends one nearly into the ceiling at Lone Depot Park. His first singer of the year starts the scoring. 1-0 Pittsburgh. Bottom of the inning, Miami up at the dish. Nick Fortes sends one to the corner in left. That will bring around Derek Hill to score, and we are all back to even at 1 apiece. Let's go to the bottom of the 5th. Otto Lopez now up for Miami with the Pirates up 2-1. That one will be to right center, but Brian Reynolds has other plans. That will end the inning. Bottom 7, 2 down. Griffin Conine sending one deep the opposite way, and that one will clear the yard. We are tied again thanks to one swing from Conine that goes 4-0-4. Bottom 9, winning run at first. Hill steals second. The throw goes into the outfield. Hill will advance to third. Winning run 90 feet away from the Marlins. Later in the at-bat, a couple pitches later, it's a wild pitch from David Bednar. Hill will score, and the Marlins will walk it off by the final of 3-2. Pittsburgh loses their first 3 games of the year on the walk-off. That hasn't happened since the 1924 Pittsburgh Pirates.
And the Boston Red Sox go down south to visit the Texas Rangers. It's the bottom of the first. Adolis Garcia hits a cutter off Walker Buehler to left field. Christian Campbell dives for the ball. Garcia to second. Another Red Sox error leads to Langford and Seager to score. Campbell up to bat. Rangers' Jacob Webb throws a 4-seamer. Campbell makes contact, sending the ball deep to the center field. It's over the fence. Christian ties the score 2-2-2. It's the bottom of the fourth. And Buehler and Garcia face off again. It's the 1-1 pitch. Buehler throws a sweeper and Garcia hits it to center field over the yellow line. Garcia rounds the bases. Score is now 3-2 Texans. Bottom of the fifth, 3 balls, 2 strikes. There's a runner on second. Buehler throws a 4-seam and Simon grounds it to center field. It gets picked up by the outfield. Rangers score. Score is now 4-2. It's the top of the 8th and runner on second, Navarez to the 0-2 count. Navarez hits it to left field, and Texans are still in the lead. Ball game, 4-3.
Well, the Blue Jays are down 2-1 in the series, wanting to tie the series in front of their home fans, and they really don't start this one super hot. Chris Bassett with a wild pitch, and that will score Ryan O'Hearn, but it's okay. Things get a little bit better from here. We now head to the bottom of the inning. George Springer gets the Blue Jays back on track with a 2-run single to center. Bo Bichette, and hello, old friend, Andreas Jimenez scores to give Toronto the lead. Now the O's have runners on first and second. Mateo Arias at the dish with a dribbler to short. Bichette makes the play at second. Jimenez turns a double play, and Bassett and the Jays escape the inning. So the Orioles will try again the very next inning with runners in scoring position. Full count for Cedric Mullins, and Bassett gets him swinging. Absolutely nasty, and you know Mullins is replaying that one in his head. But Toronto needs a little more insurance, and they'll get it from Tyler Heineman. Oh, Canada! This solo shot to left field slams the door on Baltimore. They take this one by a final of 3-1.
On Saturday, the Yankees hosted the Milwaukee Brewers, and New York hit a franchise record 9 home runs, won the game by the final score of 20-9, and debuted their new torpedo bats. We should also mention, Sunday, Yankees won 12-3 with a new style of bats. This is not in Major League Baseball rules. 32 combined runs for New York over the last 2 days. Lexi, your thoughts on what could be the smartest move in this very young 2025 season?
I feel like, for starters, we have to explain what torpedo bats are, because I don't understand how these things aren't illegal. I'm sure we'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah.
So torpedo bats are called torpedo bats because they're shaped like a torpedo, where most of the width of the bat is concentrated towards the top so that the hitters can find that sweet spot and just really nuke it out into center field. And we're seeing its effects in pretty plain day.
Right, yeah. So a MIT specialist, I don't know really his full title, kind of studied Anthony Volpe's hitting style, and they just kind of geared a bat to make Volpe a better hitter, I guess. So yeah, as Matt mentioned, the final score was 20-9. Jazz Chisholm Jr., Cody Bellinger, and Anthony Volpe all used the new bat in the game. But it's important to note, Aaron Judge, we all know him, he hit 3 home runs, but he did not use the bat. So, yeah, and I think there's 2 things to consider when we talk about the game. 1, Yankee Stadium is one of the easiest stadiums to hit a ball off of.
Yeah.
And 2, Nestor Cortez was pitching for the Brewers.
That's a crazy Nestor Cortez
That's
stray.
insane. That's kind of, I mean, she's really not wrong, but that is like kind of the craziest
Former
stray.
Yankee left-hander.
Right,
Nasty
former
Nestor.
Yankees pitcher. They're probably already aware of his game. They were kind of anticipating some of these hits. And he
So I hate to cut you off. So
No,
now
go
that
ahead.
you bring up these observations, and you're saying, okay, well, Aaron Judge had 3 homers, but he didn't use them. It's a smaller ballpark, probably that right field porch, the shortest distance from home to the wall. So do you think that this is an overreaction and we could be, forgetting about this by Thursday when another weekend series rolls around?
I think so. I think they're going to be pretty normalized once people get used to it. I think already Adley, for blanking on his last name, but he's a catcher for the Orioles.
Oh, Adley Rutschman.
Yeah, Rutschman. Yeah, he confirmed he uses one. So it seems like there were certain players before the Yankees used them. In my opinion,
Liv, you're shaking your head.
They're
now.
ruining the sport that
Whoa.
I love. I don't understand it. It feels like a cheat code to me.
So you think if every team were to do it, it's fine.
No, because especially, someone who watches a lot of Guardians games because we are in Cleveland, that's our market team. I love bloop singles. I love errors. I love the real meat of the game. I don't want to see 30 home runs per game. I find that boring. I don't think that hitting home runs is a true display of prowess. It's impressive, sure, but if every single scorer is going to come off of a torpedo bat, it makes the game less fun.
So, Lexi, do you think this is something that could get banned, or do you think that major league teams, as the year goes on, we're gonna see torpedo bats seemingly from every player?
yeah, if the defense can step up and kind of be able to field these just absolute nukes, yeah, I think the MLB will keep it around. I mean, high-scoring games attract an audience. That 20-9 was unheard of. When I saw it, my eyes bugged out of my head. I was like, ugh, darn it. So yeah, I think, and if the defense can't and they need to nerf the offense, so be it. The MLB is definitely going to put some restrictions on it.
Lexi, we appreciate the analysis.
Course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, March Madness is wrapping up. Find out which teams made the cut for the Final Four this year and which teams fell short.
Hey, I'm worried about your parents. We need to show them how to spot phishing emails.
Agreed, the scammers are out of control.
Plus, help them add multi-factor authentication.
Yes, we use MFA at work, and it's great. Software update? Done. Time to celebrate.
For more information on how to keep yourself and those you care about safe online, go to cisa.gov/secure our world.
Go.
Do you feel good about that?
No, I'm looking at it right.
And yellow today, feel free to use orange, feel free to use green, feel free whatever you want to do. These are what I have in my refrigerator.
Students, especially those that are in CCI fondly enough, are going to be visiting there quite often. But does their reward program
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Four teams have moved on in the NCAA tournament, but only one can win it all. I'm Maddox Miller, and I'm going to take you from campus to campus as we enter the home stretch of the March Madness tournament, starting out in the Chase Center for an Elite Eight matchup between the Florida Gators and the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Florida down 11-5. Elijah Martin would get the tough layup to go. Texas Tech trying to pull off a 3-1 upset, but Thomas Houck will get a lucky bounce to go in to knock down the three. Up 3. Darian Williams would respond with one of his own to knot this up at 19 apiece. Up 1 now, Florida. Thomas Houck would get a steal and a slam one-hander late in the first to go, up 1. We go to the second now with Florida up 2. Williams with the floater. He'd finish with 23 on the night. Texas Tech starting to gain a lead, but Walter Clayton would find Micah Handlogton for the alley-oop jam. But Texas Tech would not be outdone as Federico would get a lob of his own to go up 10. Now we're late in the second. It would be Hauk from 3 to try and spark this Gators comeback. He would go 4 for 6 from 3, including this one coming up, little jab step, deep 3, finishing with 20 on the night as he cuts it to 72-75, 77-75. Clayton with the fadeaway. We haven't said his name much. He would finish with a game-high 30. Now up 3. Williams with a chance to tie it would miss, and the Gators would come down with the rebound, practically sealing this one as they're going to intercept this pass to book their ticket to their first Final Four since 2014. Hauk and Clayton going on a 12-2 run on their own to send Florida to the Final Four in San Antonio.
We really started with the most exciting game. All of these were a little lackluster, but let's see who comes out of the Midwest, the Volunteers or the Cougars. LJ Cryer outside the arc, jab step, and he drains the triple. The Cougs off to a hot start, and it is Cryer again. He drives in the lane, gets the jumper, plus the foul. They held the Vols to 15 points in the first half, the fewest since 1979. Tennessee shaken but not stirred. Jordan Gainey nets a triple. He had 17 off the bench, tied for most from the Vols with this man, Chaz Lanier. Baseline scoops it up and in. The Vols are now down only 13, trying to come back. Zakai Ziegler pitches it to Igor Milicic, and he barely has to jump with his 6'10 frame. The Cougs lead is now down to 11, but they are starting to pull away. Emmanuel Sharp, of no relation, for 3, wide open. That's too easy, and it breaks the nearly 4-minute scoring drought. Cryer in the paint hits Sharp again. He had 4 threes. They're the best three-point team in the nation. They had 9 threes on the night. Milos Uzon finishes the scoring for Houston, and the Cougs are headed back to the Final Four for the first time since 2021 by a dominating score of 69-50.
Wow, he looks really like a sharpshooter. Michigan State and Auburn in the Elite Eight. Here we go. First half, Janai Broome driving baseline reverse layup is good. Auburn leads by 3. Few minutes later, Miles Kelly will hoist from 3 land, and he nails it. It now league is grown to 7. Tigers up big, 20-8, and Broome will make the hurt even more painful. There's the triple, 23-8 Auburn. Later on, Frankly Fiddler will connect from downtown. Lead is cut down to 10. Under 3.5 left to go in the first. How about Jackson Kohler? You'll hear his name later on. Left elbow 3 is good. Auburn up 9 at the break. Second half, Tahad Pettiford lays it in. 10-point Tiger lead. Later on, Broome off the pick and roll, going inside and slamming it down with 2 hands with authority. Lead up to 11. Under 5 to play. Broome, catch, release, nails the triple. 25 points, 14 rebounds for Janai Broome in the Elite Eight. Sparty's not going away, however. Jaden Atkins will take it all the way himself for the layup, back to single digits. Less than 2 minutes to play. Kohler will get this one and nail it from 3. 7-point game. Kohler had 17 points. He led the team, but on the next possession, Denver Jones will ice it for the Tigers, sending them to the Final Four for the first time since 2019 by the final of 70-64.
We finish in the East with a rough game, well, at least for the Rolling Tide fans. To the action, Con Knipple misses the jumper. Cayman Malawach gets the rebound and kicks it out to Knipple, and that shot falls. Mark Sears drives away from the screen and gets the hook shot to Aiden Sherrill, and he drops to Trey. Alabama trying to stay close, but Duke begins to pull away. Malawach with the monster slam, and now it's Sion James, looks to see if he can get his shot. Instead, it's just out to Knipple, who buries the 3. He was a hero of the night with 21 points. Now, Sears had a great game in the Sweet 16, but he took a back seat on Saturday. He hits Grant Nelson, who elevates for the dunk. If you missed that play, they do it once again. Here it is, dish to Nelson, and he scores. Kind of a quiet night by Cooper Flagg standards, meaning he didn't drop 30 points, but this was a low light. Nelson with a major block on the other end. The ball gets to Sears, and he gets the corner triple. The OU product had an excellent night. This highlight makes it seem like this was a close game, but it truly he truly was not. Duke was always in control, even with his great three from LeBron Falone. Flagg still had a decent night. He had 16 points and 9 rebounds, but Duke handles the once high-flying Alabama offense with an 85-65 final.
All right, we have an all-one seed Final Four.
Yeah.
Now, Maddox, looking back on the tournament, a severe lack of upsets and Cinderella stories. Last time, we just got word in our ear from our producer, David Williams. Last time it was all one seeds, 2008.
Oof.
It's been a minute. Why do you think there were no Cinderella teams this year?
I think, it's going to sound really simple. There was just a talent gap. It felt like the upsets that did happen were the obvious ones. It was McNeese over Clemson. It was Drake over Missouri. It was Colorado State over Memphis. Those were the three that people looked at and were like, yeah, book it. Like, send it in. Those are the upsets. Arkansas had a nice run as a 10 seed, but the 1 seeds were truly the best teams in college basketball. I almost said football. College basketball. It should set up for a very good Final Four, but we could even see this talent gap in the Final Four where maybe Duke is head and shoulders above Houston, or Auburn is head and shoulders above Florida, where truly there is just one definitive best team in college basketball. And, this could be a product of the transfer portal where your good programs are getting all the good players. I just think this was just a year where all the 1 seeds didn't really have a flaw that you could point out, maybe like a Purdue in prior years where it's, man, they're a little shaky and they could fall apart, and usually they would, but these teams just didn't have that.
So now that we are at the Final Four, we know what these matches are going to be. Who do we have winning each matchup in the whole thing? Maddox, start with you.
I'll start. I was rocking with Florida the whole way.
Gators?
So I got Florida over Auburn.
Okay.
And I have Duke making it back. It feels like Duke is always a team that we kind of suspect to make a deep tournament run, and in prior years, they kind of don't. The Zion Williamson year was a little disappointing, but Cooper Flagg, Concanipple, all those guys have just been so dominant. Houston has had moments. That Purdue game in the Elite Eight, or in the Sweet 16, was very close. Came down to an inbound pass where a guy was left wide open. I have Duke over Houston, and then I have Florida taking it over the Blue Devils. Well,
So, yeah, with that Duke-Houston matchup, I think you mentioned it earlier, that they're head and shoulders above the Cougars. So I will go with Duke in that regard. I'm going to take Auburn over Florida, even though there are some question marks surrounding Janai Broome with the fact that he did get hurt. He was kind of holding onto his elbow during that the title, ceremony where they were raising the trophy for the Elite Eight. So there are some questions around there. I think they're going to overcome that, but Duke, I think, is just going to take it over Auburn. Liv, what say you?
I agree with both of you. You both have some points that I agree with, but personally, I'm not as in on Florida as you guys are. I mean, I watched that Texas Tech game, and I do not think the better team won. I know that's kind of crazy to say. I really don't think they did. I think that game wasn't necessarily that Florida won, but that Texas Tech lost.
Yep.
I know that it sounds redundant. It doesn't really make sense, but I don't see Florida coming out of that one personally. And then I have Houston winning the other one.
Ooh, upset.
I've been.
It's weird to say.
I know it's
weird
weird
to say
a
upset
one
for
seed
a 1
upset.
seed.
But I have been I've been apprehensive of Duke a lot. I've always thought that they would fail to reach the mountaintop. I'm being told by our producer David Williams that I am wrong, but I mean, only time will tell. But personally, I just don't think that Duke has what it takes to get it done. And defense wins championships. So I think Houston's going to take it. And out of Auburn and Houston, I have Auburn taking it. I've said it since the beginning, it's going to be Auburn. And at this point, I think I just kind of have to stand 10 toes down for that.
Final Four will be Saturday national title game a week from tonight. Thanks, Maddox. Of course. Well, with the NBA playoffs just over the horizon, the Cavs continue to dominate the Eastern Conference. Find out how Cleveland was able to continue their dominance against the Clippers.
In the time it takes to play a new album, you can get answers to deep questions like, were all those clubs in your 20s really such a bad thing? Hey, no judgment, but it's possible concerts weren't music to your ears.
1 in 4 people over 20 now have signs of noise-induced hearing loss. So let's see a hearing professional and get those ears checked.
Answers are good. Your moves? Not bad.
Can you help me?
got there?
Will you help my mom?
Hey, crew, I'll give the first move to anyone who signs up to be an organ donor. How do you do it?
Easy. Just go to organdonor.gov.
More donors means more hope. Sign up at organdonor.gov.
Can you consent with me? Imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. 'Cause every kid across the nation deserves a book to read, and we can make it happen right now. No, I don't know what you've been told, but kids with books learn so much more. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite, unearth hidden passion. Come on, we'll have a good time. Living seeds of inspiration to motivate some magic. To change the writing on the wall, writing on the wall. And make a difference. One book can inspire a child. One book can be the first thing that helps to change a life. People unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
The playoffs are right around the corner, and it is crunch time for a lot of teams if they want a shot at clinching an NBA playoff spot. A couple of those teams played last night in Cleveland. Let's take a look. Cavs looking for win number 60. Clippers just trying to tread water. Donovan Mitchell drives, fouls, and scores the start to another insane game for Mitchell. He helped the Cavs get to a dominant 37-point first quarter to LA's 25. We now head to the second. Norman Powell with the Rock. Pull-up triple. That is good. He finished with 34 points. He did well from the three-point range. I mean, he netted 5 triples on the night and really was a hero for the Clippers. Time is ticking down in the first half, and Jarrett Allen uses that cat dad strength pump fake slam to end the second quarter. Now the Clippers are threatening, and leave it to the beard, James Harden, to bring this to a one-point game, but Evan Mobley said, not in my house. He flips the layup and gets the foul, and here is something I never thought I'd say. Mobley, pull up 3? That's good. Watch out. World EV4 has a 3-ball. Congratulations, Kenny Atkinson, for discovering that one. 6 seconds left in the third. Long shot for Spite of the Sniper. You knew that was going to fall. Cavs up by 9. Great to see the Garland-Allen connection. A high shot for Garland. He had 19 points, but that man led the Cavs. Jarrett Allen. J.A. helped propel the Cavs to win number 60 for only the 3rd time in franchise history.
Blazers taking on the Knicks. Mike Breen sporting the colorful jacket. That's in honor of his analyst and Knicks legend Walt Frazier's 80th birthday. First quarter, Toumani Camara with the pull-up 3. Blazers up 15-8 early. Later in the quarter, Knicks with the ball. OG Anunoby will fade it away. And now it's 17-14 Portland. 30 seconds left in the quarter. Anthony Simmons going inside and 1. He'll make the free throw. However, last play of the first quarter, off the inbound, Mikal Bridges from half court. You know it! New York up 2 through 1. Second quarter, Josh Hart on the outlet pass to Karl Anthony Towns. New York up 10. Later on, Denny Avdia will fire away and nail it from deep. Minute later, Avdia goes inside this time, and the finish. Blazers up 8 at halftime. Third quarter, Shaedon Sharpe. No relation? Liv? Okay, cool. No relation. He gets from downtown Portland up 9. Late third, Bridges, another fadeaway. This time off the baseline. It's a 4-point game. A minute left in the quarter. Anunoby with the steal and slam. New York now leads in the fourth. Avdia down by 9. Off the very tippy top of the backboard and falls. You can see it kind of go off the silver and into the bucket. 96-89. Later on, Hart dumps it down low. In traffic to Cat for the layup. And with under 2 to go, Bridges mid-range. 110-93 Knicks win. Bridges and Anunoby each with 28 on the night.
Bucks looking to build some momentum. They're on a really rough skid, but first they got to handle the Hawks. Trae Young off the fingertips gets the floater. Now we joke some players are shot chuckers, but seriously, Kyle Kuzma literally just chucked that. Anyways, he had 14 the first quarter. Oh, and did I mention he was a perfect 6 for 6. He put Zachary Riseke in the spin cycle to finish his excellent start. And the Greek Freak looking more like a Greek god there with that 2-hand slam, but the Hawks will not go down easy. Trae Young step back 3. He finished with 19 points and 19 assists. Giannis was cold from outside the arc, but he had no issues getting the 2-ball to fall. He had 31 points, and good heavens, don't look now, but bang, bang, George Nang had an excellent night with 17 off the bench, but the real stars were Dyson Daniels, who just made that bucket, and Risake. Look at this backward slam. He also had a team-high 5 threes, which contributed to his season-high 36 points. Hawks fans gotta love seeing these young stars connect so well. And I'm kind of taking over the highlights here because Daniel had 5 steals, and none of them were in this highlight, and he now leads the NBA in steals. Truly a spectacular night for him. But regardless, amazing night for the Hawks. We finish with a Trey, take a look. Not so fast! Risake with the putback dunk, and ATL takes this one 145 to 124.
Raptors taking on the 76ers in Philly. RJ Barrett will have himself a night. End of the first, Scotty Barnes going inside left-handed layups. Good 32-31 Raptors through the opening quarter. Second quarter, Barrett no-look bounce pass to Cole Swider for 3. Toronto up 11. A minute later, Barrett trying to force his way inside, circles out. Philly on the fast break now. And it's going to be Ricky Council, the 4th on the dunk, deficit down to 8. Now with Toronto up 9, Barrett with a nice move down low, trying to make his way to separate himself. He puts it in. Final seconds of the half. Jamal Shed will tries to 3. No. Jacoby Walter on the tip. Yes. 63-49 Raptors at half. Third quarter we go. A bad pass is going to be saved by Orlando Robinson. Out to Barrett, who will nail this 3. It's 77-56. Sixers need something. Anything. And they'll turn to Lonnie Walker the 4th for the 3, 77-63. 3.5 left to go in the third. Walker running the floor here. Now with a no-look pass to Jalen Hood-Schifino on the reverse. Take a look at it one more time. He's got eyes on the side of his head, and it's an 8-point game. Toronto up 12. Barrett from 3. He will knock it down. 31 points for RJ Barrett. Raptors win 127 to 109. And on Sunday night, the Timberwolves faced off against the Pistons in Minneapolis. Around the 8-minute mark in the second quarter, a fight broke out between the two teams after Ron Holland fouled Naz Reid as he went for a layup. And then Minnesota's Dante DiVincenzo escalated the situation into an all-out brawl between the two teams. The skirmish spilled into the first row of the crowd, causing 5 players and 2 coaches to be ejected. The Timberwolves went on to win the game against Detroit, 123-104. How do the Pistons find themselves in these situations? Malice at the Palace
I was about to say it was a Malice at the Palace 2025 edition.
Yeah. So we go now to the Cavs.
Yeah.
5-game losing skid earlier last week out west, having a little trouble getting off to the right foot. Now they've rattled off a couple in a row. Big win against the Clippers at home. Do you kind of just view that as like a, it'll be all right?
I'm trying not to take it too seriously. If you would have asked me that when we were in the middle of the 5-game streak, I would have said it was the end of the world and the Cavs were not even going to make the playoffs, which I know is impossible. I think that right now everyone just seems like a little bit bored. They're not going to get the record, so they're not playing their hardest, which I mean, you can contribute to a couple of things, not wanting to have more injuries. We saw that we had Mobley out for a little bit with an injury, and then we also saw that Ty Jerome was out for a little bit with an injury. He still currently is. So it could be that they don't want to play their hardest because they don't want to risk injury. They don't really know that they have something to play for right now because the 1 seed is all but locked up. I mean, really all they have to play for right now would be possible home court advantage through the finals. I just think that everyone's, a little bit tired. They're ready to really get into the meat of the stuff. But quite frankly, with the way they handled the Clippers, Spurs, and yeah, I'm not too concerned.
Yeah, I totally agree. So now let's focus on who do we think a playoff team will be to kind of make a run that no one will think. I like the Magic.
Yeah?
I don't know why. I think they can win a series. Paolo Banchero, they've shown that they can get it going here. What say you?
I mean, I would have to agree with the Magic. Something about Orlando, they seem to kind of have Cleveland's number in some way, so if there's going to be anyone who's going to take them down, I think it could be them. But also, I don't suppose this is really a dark horse, but since we've had 2 such dominating teams in the East, considering the Bucks possibly making a run in the East, I think that kind of counts as a dark horse pick because right now it's kind of a done deal that it's either going to be the Cavs or the Celtics in the finals. So the Bucks making a little bit of noise could be possible, but right now as they're heading into the tournament with just 0 momentum, it doesn't seem like that's really going to happen.
Won the finals in 21.
I know, that is true.
They have experience.
Well, with so much sports going on, it can be a little bit difficult to know what teams you should put your money on. Our very own Blake Alocha is here to share his 2 cents on how you can make a few dollars.
Thanks, Liv. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Blake's Best Bets. The guards are on late tonight, plus March Madness shrinks to 4 teams. Let's break down my favorite picks. We cashed last week's best bet at Kobe White, recorded 4 assists, and the Bulls did better than just cashing the spread as they took down the Nuggets 129-119. We are heading over to the Diamond for the first time this year as the Guardians play in San Diego against the Padres tonight. San Diego has a quick turnaround as they played Atlanta on Sunday Night Baseball last night. The Padres looked terrific, winning 5-0. That included Nick Pivetta throwing 7 shutout innings. The Guardians arrive in town fresh off winning 2 of 3 in Kansas City to start the season. I really like the over of 8 runs in this game. Both sides are starting pitchers with major question marks surrounding each. Cleveland turns to former Pittsburgh Pirates starter Luis Ortiz in the series opener. Ortiz is coming off a decent season in 2024, going 7-6 with a .332 ERA in 37 games. This will be Ortiz's 4th career outing against the Padres, all as a starter. He's 0-1 with a .574 ERA in 15 2/3 innings, allowing 13 hits but giving up 5 homers against the Padres. The bigger question mark, though, is San Diego starter Kyle Hart. Hart last pitched in the majors back in 2020, appearing in 4 games for Boston, going 0-1 with 15.55 ERA in 11 innings and striking out 13. The 32-year-old got his second chance in MLB by winning Korean baseball's version of the Cy Young Award after going 13-3 with a .269 ERA last year for the NC Dinos, striking out 182 batters to lead the KBO. With the guards getting their best bat back in Jose Ramirez, I believe Cleveland will be able to get to Hart in his debut. Likewise, the Padres lineup has looked solid in its 4-game sweep versus the Braves, and Ortiz did not look too great in spring training, earning a 10.13 ERA in 18 2/3 innings pitched. I like a high-scoring series opener, so my best bet is the over of 8, currently sitting at -118 odds, courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook. I like playing the line all the way to over 9.5 runs, which sits at +147. Now back to the hardwood as March Madness has moved to San Antonio for the Final Four, with chalk being the one-word summary of this tournament so far. Semifinals are packed with some insane talent, though. Even though it is all 1 seeds, Florida is making its first appearance in the Final Four since 2014, while Auburn and Houston have never won a national championship. Auburn and Florida meet in the first game on a Saturday night in a conference rematch. The first time they played this year was back in February when the Gators ended Auburn's 14-game winning streak on the War Eagles home court. I do not think Auburn will get the revenge, as Florida has been on an absolute tear and they don't look to be stopping anytime soon. Look, I'm ready to follow Walter Clayton Jr. into war as he has been unconscious in this tourney, dropping 30 points, including some Curry-esque threes to help the Gators beat Texas Tech in the Elite Eight. Give me Florida money line, currently set at -148 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, I won't take too much time discussing the second game as I have fully jumped on the Duke bandwagon. The Blue Devils made a potent Alabama offense look like they forgot they were playing in the Elite Eight. I'm taking Duke spread at -5.5, currently set at -105 odds. If you combine those 2 picks into a parlay, you get odds of +227 on DraftKings Sportsbook. That is all on this week's Blake's Best Bets. Stay sharp, play smart, and may the odds be ever in your favor. I'm Blake Aloja. Catch you next time. Back to Matt at the desk.
Well, thank you, Blake. After the break, we have our award-winning segment, Empowerment, and the return of Karali Chaos. Stay with us.
Hey, did you know that 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Go to theshelterpetproject.org and search your local shelters and rescues. Go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride? No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom. Dude, are you okay? I am definitely buzzed. Yeah. I think I will take this and I will take that ride home.
The great thing about a hearing check? No one makes you drink weird stuff, or drills your teeth, or dilates your eyes. It's just soothing me time in a quiet booth. Then bam, you can do the happy dance, because you're all done.
Untreated hearing loss puts you at greater risk for depression and anxiety. So what's holding you back? Let's see a hearing professional and get those ears checked. And let's dance.
Good morning. Hope you all had a good weekend and are ready to be inspired. One quick thing I want to remind you guys to be studying.
Major key alert.
Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Today we're talking about inspirational quotes.
You want to get that paper? You better turn in that paper and get an A+. That's a major key. Another one. Mogul talk. You want to reach the mountaintop? You got to go hard. To succeed, you have to believe. Stay focused. Fly higher than the eagle. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote from recent history?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
Welcome back. We're going to start tonight's end segments by highlighting women in sports with empowerment. Well, it is baseball season, so I want to talk about the brand new Women's Professional Baseball League, which launches in the summer of 2026. The inaugural season will feature 6 teams from the Northwest, led by Justine Siegel. Siegel was the first female coach for a professional team in 2009 and also the first to be hired in the majors 6 years later by the Athletics. The WPBL also has an advisory board filled with former players and execs, but most exciting is the inclusion of Maybelle Blair, a former pitcher who played in 1948 for the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. You also may know her as part of the inspiration for the legendary movie A League of Their Own. Now, I mentioned the league will initially be based in the Northeast, with Boston, Toronto, and Philadelphia, as well as New York, also being in the running for inaugural franchises. We're seeing the rise of lots of women's leagues, and it's high time that we got a women's baseball league because there hasn't been a professional women's hardball league in 70 years. No, not 17, 70. And this is especially great timing as we're seeing the inclusion of more women in Major League Baseball with a record-setting 43 who are coaching MLB teams in 2023. I personally am beyond excited and cannot wait to see what happens, especially because Blair said she'd like to make a team in Rockford, Illinois, making the Rockford Peaches from A League of Their Own a reality. And while I love that movie, it's especially exciting because it's in the backyard of my grandparents and uncles. So I'm very excited to attend those games should they happen. But no matter what teams are selected, Siegel and her team are truly making a league of their own.
All right, so let's do Crawley Chaos. No crash out because we got to talk about something that happened really cool. Not far from this campus on Sunday, we talked about it earlier at the beginning of the show. Kent State baseball played Toledo, and it was the bottom of the 6th. It was a tie game at 2, and on the broadcast, they welcomed in Sean Casey. Now, for those of you that don't know, Sean Casey is a 3-time MLB All-Star, played with the Yankees. He is on MLB Network. He's a personality for them, and his son Jake plays here at Kent State. And we were talking about it earlier with Stone O'Brien, and he came in and he popped on the headset around the top of the 6th. Flashes retired the Rockets in order 1, 2, 3. And then in the bottom half, there were a couple of guys that got out. It was around the 2-hole hitter. Jake hits 3rd in the lineup. So the 2nd-hole hitter in Hayden Yasick drew a 3-2 count with 2 away. Bases were empty. And he ended up drawing a walk. And I'm like, oh, cool. Jake is going to hit with his dad here. This will be fun. First pitch sent one 423 feet to right field with his dad on the broadcast. If that doesn't give you goosebumps, I really don't know what will. And that is chaos in the best form possible. And the best part is it happened between a father and son right here on this campus. Pretty cool stuff.
We did get a little tidbit of information from Stone O'Brien. The pitcher who Casey hit that home run off of, his dad also was a pitcher in the major leagues. And I'd like you to guess who Sean Casey also hit a homer off of. It was that pitcher's dad. So kind of, a little,
history
generation.
Repeating itself.
History repeating itself a little bit.
Absolutely.
All right, enough of baseball. We must talk about it because we've had some varied reactions to March Madness. Matt, how's your bracket doing?
Like half good, half bad.
Okay.
When it was all said and done. How about you?
Somehow it's still okay.
That's good.
But I had the 32 and Sweet 16 were really rough for me, but I got 3 out of the final 4 right. I'm curious, anyone on Couch Island, does anyone have 4 out of 4, the final 4 correct? Raise your hand. Stand up now and face the sun. Nobody? Did 3 out of 4? Did anyone match me?
Nope.
Wow. 2 out of 4. Stone, who do you have?
Maybe. I forget.
Florida?
How do we?
Wait, I think I may have had 3 out of 4. I had Florida, Auburn, and Duke.
Okay, so you had 3 out of 4. Maddox, did you have?
I know I had Florida winning it all.
Okay.
I think I may have had. Okay, I did have Auburn in there.
Bro forgot.
Yeah.
I did.
Oh, wait, no,
I think I had Duke in there, and then I had Alabama in.
Okay,
Well, I had St. John's.
Or no, that's
unfortunately,
impossible.
but-
Yeah, I was about to ask what game
St.
really
John's
did
is
you
a
guys
really
in?
popular pick this year. Oh.
What was it that did you
man.
guys in?
Gonzaga over it. You see, my bracket was so chalk that I named it the chalk bracket, but I also made a few changes in there. And one of those changes was Gonzaga upsetting Houston.
No.
Fortunately, didn't work, but I had Houston going to the Final Four. I had the winner of that game going to the Final Four.
Blake, what broke you, bud?
It was actually the first round. I thought Clemson was going to beat McNeese.
Me
I thought
too!
that everybody
Dude.
was jumping on the McNeese
Guys.
train too much.
Samesies.
And Clemson could not buy a bucket in the first half.
They could not, no.
And yeah, that really ruined it right off the jump.
Blake, you ready for this one? I had Clemson going to the Elite Eight.
Oh no!
I had Clemson in the Final
They
Four.
were at the Sweet
I
16
had
for me,
Clemson
so
going to
yeah,
the
it hurt.
Elite
That hurts.
I had Clemson in the Final Four.
Lexi, what say you?
I didn't do a bracket.
Yeah.
I get too hyped about this stuff. I would get too hyped about it, and I have other things to worry about. Like, that makes it sound like I'm diminishing the importance of March Madness, but I would get way too invested, and I need to invest my energy.
That's okay. No,
In
that's
a way,
okay.
you're kind of right.
You're protecting
because
your
you're
peace.
prioritizing.
I'm protecting my peace.
You're protecting your
Good for
peace.
you. That's-
Now, I want to tell the folks at home that we do have a KSTV Sports bracket challenge going on. And I don't know if anyone's checked it recently, but right now, in first place is our Sports Corner producer, David Williams. He's in
Shout
first
out,
place.
David.
He has a really solid bracket. He's up to 1,050 points.
Wow.
He has Duke winning it all, though, so we'll see what happens.
Still in play.
good pick.
Absolutely still in
Very
play.
possible.
And who's at number 2? Jenny, get ready to swing that camera around. It's our very own other camera operator, Mike DiFilippo.
Yeah!
And Mike got 4 for 4 of the final 4 correct. He rode
That's bold.
on the number 1
intended.
train all the way. And if folks are curious, I'm tied for last place.
With whom?
You don't have to swing the camera around for that.
Tied for last
I am
place.
tied for last place, but don't call it a comeback because most of my final 4 are still in play, so the dream remains alive.
That could be the same
It could
for
be.
like everybody.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because there's a good chunk, like it's all one seat, so everybody kind of
Yeah, like
rode that train.
Except for
Yeah.
our
Biggest
dear
one.
Eli Washington, who had Houston winning it all.
Ooh.
Well-
I mean, it's in play, but I don't think it's.
It's in play.
Well, okay, we can sit here
You
next
should just
week.
predict, yeah.
They'll be
You
playing
said
for
We're
the
gonna
title.
sit here and be like,
finally has the
Liv,
offense.
you said they were going to the national championship.
yeah, but I don't think they're gonna win it all by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, I mean, I
No, by not
guess.
any stretch of the imagination. No matter who they draw, they
So-
are not winning.
You think Duke, no problem, but
Yeah.
Auburn's the one where you're like, no, there's no shot.
Correct.
That's
Look,
wild.
I have to stand 10 toes down because if I try to
that's crazy
backwalk,
talk right
everyone's going
there.
to drag me
Yeah,
in the
you
group
can't
me,
backwalk.
so I can't backwalk. I have to stand
can't
on my
backwalk
take no
like
matter how
folks.
If
ice
Houston
cold
can
it may
stop
age.
Cooper Flag enough to win a ball game, what makes you think they don't have a chance to beat Auburn or Florida?
Okay.
There's a lot of good teams.
You know
obviously,
what?
they're all good.
How
I
does
got
this
it.
always? This show always somehow ends in me being the villain. I cheat on Immaculate
Villain?
Grid. I don't agree with your take on the
goodness.
NIT.
That's okay.
I
It's-
have cold takes.
Disagreeing on
I-
takes, that's fine. Cold takes are okay. It's you cheating that
I
can't
didn't
stand.
cheat. I was just trying to help guide us along.
And that'll do it for this edition of Sports Corner. We thank you all so much for watching.
For updates from us 24/7, head over to kenstater.com and be sure to tune in right here to Overtime every Friday at 7 p.m. I'm Liv Sharp.
And I'm Matt Caralli, saying wherever the ball flies in the air, the Kent Stater Sports Network will be there. Good night.
Some people told me I had to choose, but here's the deal. You can be great at more than one thing. And getting involved in STEM opens up your world to a universe of opportunities in life. Get inspired and get involved today. There are STEM programs and science centers available in your community, so be sure to check out spaceforall.us to learn more and get started. Find your place in space. Space for all.
You may know the FDA is responsible for approving new drugs and making sure those drugs are safe, high quality, and work the way they're supposed to. As part of its public health mission, the scientists and staff at FDA work to protect the American public by getting the accurate, science-based information they need to use medications wisely. all by asking questions and letting science lead to the answers.
There's a place to share gossip about the office party fun, and a place to share the story you tell everyone. There's a place to share a laugh about when things went wrong, and a place to share the video of you dancing to your song. There's a place to share spare change, lunch, and your time. But we could all be better at sharing how we're feeling inside. 76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone.
How can you hate Star Wars?
Kung Fu Panda.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Here for a late night walk.
Yes.
Late night walks
Yes.
around
Oh my
campus.
gosh.
Not
I
bad.
always, you know, like the swing.
Student center.
What?
Wait, care, you mean like healthcare?
CARES Center.
Student center.
Where you can get support.